Hi, my name is Fabio Marchesi. I am the inventor of the Marchesi infrared adipocytes catabolism technology and the designer, together with Emilio Donarini, of a family of apparatus named INFRAFIT, with little differences also named BioFit Experience and the Cell Curve. I will try with my little English to explain you how this technology works. Since I was very little, one of my passions was the light. Light in any kind of source and any kind of form, from the sunlight to electrical light to electronic device producing light. And this passion became also my profession in my life. I am also a writer. I wrote some books, and one of the books I wrote is The Healing Light. Is published only in Italian and in French until now. And almost all my patents are based on the application of light, on beauty, on wellness, on the improvement of the mood and for the improvement of the emotional state. So my passion for lights became also my profession when I started to make invention with devices and apparatus able to make positive effect on the humans. Different wave colors, energy, information that enters the eyes and reaches the skin can excite, can calm, balance, stimulate, inhibit. The stimulation of red color have many effects, such as increase in blood pressure, in pulse, in respiration, increased electrical conductivity of the skin and brain activity. In Ayurvedic medicine this is interesting. In Ayurvedic medicine, overweight is related to lack of red color. Every cell not only responds and reacts to electromagnetic waves, but also produces itself electromagnetic waves, biophotons, discovered by Fritz Albert Popp. Light is present in every single cell of our body. The radiation emitted by living cells has the function of intra and extracellular regulation and communication. This is important to me because we are trying to use light to produce effect on the body, and this technology is based on the use of infrared light to produce a change in the metabolism of the cell. So one of the goals when I developed this technology was to find a way to send information to the cell deep in the tissues. Artificial lighting has radically changed the characteristic of the light that interacts with us, contributing, along with a junk food nutrition or a bad nutrition, to compromise the emotional state, the health, vitality, physical state and aspect. This is particularly what the meaning of the book I wrote. I made many research on what changed in the environment and what changed in the lifestyle of people, and why at the present time the overweight, not only the overweight is a big problem of the society, but I believe that also we had a reducing of the happiness of the human being. This is related to the change in the light and the kind of light we are exposed. For millions of years we have been exposed only to the sunlight, so it's only just a little more than 1 century that the artificial light exists. But the exposition to artificial light combined with a sedentary lifestyle, combined with a nutrition usually bad or based on junk food. So this is a joke, but we can think about the lifestyle of our, until just 200 years ago, was quite different than our actual lifestyle. So the change in the lifestyle have an effect on the change on the body composition and on the aspect of the body. This is interesting because in our technology we are using infrared. Mainly we are using infrared, but there are many studies that demonstrate that a lack of exposition to the sunlight manifests symptoms such as anxiety state without any apparent reason, hunger for carbohydrates and sense of satisfaction after taking them, sleep disorder, tiredness when waking up and during the day, reduction of libido, difficulties in human relations, difficulty in concentration and memory, physical awareness, and exposition to diseases and infections, PMS syndrome premenstrual. I'm sorry, my English, I'm trying to do with the little English I have, so I apologize if I'm not so clear. Mood swing and gain of weight. So the gain of weight is one of the effects of the change of the lifestyle of the human being. The quality of light we expose our body have an important role that can be usually underestimated. Before to try to explain you this technology, how this technology works and how I have been able to get so many patents on the application about the application of light. These are some of my patents, and the most important patents is related to is this one: process and equipment for reducing adipose tissue in specific areas of the body by combined action of heat and muscular activity. Before to explain you, I would like to tell you a little story on how I get to this. Why, at the point of my life, I started to think about found a solution on overweight. Why? When I was about 20, I was a swimmer at Italian national level, and I was also studying computing science, and I was a programmer. I started a collaboration with the National Italian Federation Doctors for the developing of a computer program software to make diagnosis on athletes. One of these research I've been involved with was a research with the goal to the development of a body composition analysis system. This research involved me so much because to me it was so important to have the opportunity to have a check of my body and to compare the body composition of my body to the body composition of a champion, an Olympic champion or something like that. So I was really involved at that time in this research, and it passionated me so much, and I dedicated 2-3 years of my life to the development of this body composition analysis system. So this is me some years ago when I was a swimmer with my team con mia squadra. And at that time I started the development of a body composition analysis system, and was a computer program based on body measurement. So I had 3 instruments, and I can show you because I have here. So a skin for caliber to take a measurement of the body fat, subcutaneous body fat, and other instrument to take a measurement for the bone and measurement for the circumferences of the body. So this program became my profession. So I opened a small software house, and I start to sell this body composition analysis system. And one of the main point of this system was the ability to make three different calculations. One to check how much fat was in the body, one to check how much muscle was in the body, and one to check how much bone. So I can have a valuation not only of the fat-free mass and the fat mass, but also on fat, on muscle, bone, and this was so important to me because when I started to sell in Italy, this system was a complete system, a computer program with all the instruments, and I was thinking that dietitians would be interested, but it was surprising to me that only sports medicine doctors was interested in this, mainly bodybuilders. Bodybuilders were interested in see how was changing the fats and the muscle in their body based on the diet or the training they was doing. And it was surprising to me to see that dietitian was like afraid to this diagnostic system. And I discovered that what was going on to a body of a normal person, lightly overweight normal person that started a diet, because we could see a reduction of weight, but when we go to check the body composition, we see that reduction of weight was mainly a losing of muscles, of water. The fat was still there. So I was so excited to have developed this body composition analysis system, and I was so excited to have the possibility to see how the body composition was changing when someone was making a diet or making a specific training, but the effect to this possibility to check the changing body composition was driving many people, me first, in a big confusion. Why in a big confusion? Because when I've been studying thermodynamics at the university, I learned something about the transformation of energy. So the idea was that overweight people are people that eat too much and burn too less. That's a very simple. But when I had the opportunity to follow, I had several collaborations also with the Gruppo Studio Apporti Metabolici of the University of Milan. We were studying overweight changes, and we was using my body composition analysis system. So it was surprising to me to have the opportunity to see people, really overweight people that was eating very little, just an apple or 2 apples a day, for example, and they was not losing weight. And also I see people that was eating so much. I think everybody knows people that eat very much and they don't gain weight. And also I think everybody knows people that eat just a little but they don't lose weight. So this did seem strange considering the rules of thermodynamics, but one of the point of this technology is to get a change in the body composition, but respecting the muscle and the metabolism. I was so excited for the result that this body composition analysis system was able to give to people interested in get a better body, or to compare the body of, for example, in the sport application. The goal was to be able to compare your body composition to the body composition of a champion and see how much muscle you have to gain and how much fat you have to lose, and have an instrument to let you check your improvement while you was training or while you was dieting. But it was only a diagnostic system. So what was usually happen every time I made a body composition to someone, or a doctor or someone was making a body composition analysis to someone, and the result was, for example, an excess of 5 kilos of fat and a lack of 2 kilos of muscle, for example, everybody was coming to me and say, okay, now I know I am overweight, I have 5 kilos of fat in excess, I need 2 kilos of muscle to be in perfect shape. So the question was what I have to do. Every time was the same question. So I started to study nutrition, and I developed with some expert friends a software, diet comp. The name of the body composition was fit comp, and then I developed a diet comp, then train comp, but the result was quite different than what the people was looking for. Many people were starting a very low caloric diet. They was losing weight, but checking their body composition, we found that they was losing almost only muscle and water, and the fat was still there. So I started to think about found a solution, because diet and training, everybody was talking about diet and training, but there are many people that they start to train and they were gaining weight instead to lose it. And all the people will say you are gaining muscle, but making the body composition analysis, we could see that there was an increase in fat also on people that was doing training. So, which was the problem? I started to think I'm an inventor, so I love to invent something that doesn't exist. And so I started to think about, found a solution, something that was really effective in improving the body composition, in reduction of fat. So everybody can have a different shape and different weight based on the different lifestyle, but what make a big difference between one person and the other person, and what make a big difference between people that can eat a lot without gaining weight and people that also if they eat very little, they are still overweight. So the first point was the differences in the metabolism. The metabolism is the transformation of matter in energy. We can have people with very high metabolism and people with low metabolism. But usually we consider the resting metabolic rate, the calories the body needs just to survive. So we can have people that burn more than 2,000 calories just to survive, so without considering the calories they burn with physical activity, and people with very low resting metabolic rate. For example, we can have two persons with same weight, but with a completely different shape and resting metabolic rate. The resting metabolic rate is not based on the weight, but is based on the body composition. The muscle burn calories, the fat store calories. And we can have also situation on women, for example, that start a very low caloric diet, they lose weight, that are happy because they lose weight, but they lose only muscle. And when you lose muscle, the metabolism is reduced. So one of the points, I try to find a solution on getting a better shape and getting a better body composition, in reducing the fat but keeping the muscle, or make the muscle more efficient in burning fat. This can have a dramatic impact on the shape, on the aspect, on the physical aspect, the reduction of muscle or the reduction of fat. For example, keeping your muscle, the fat are on the muscle, so are the muscle that make the shape. So when with a low caloric diet a person lose muscle, lose also in the beauty of of the shape. This is just an extremely case. Different body composition, different shape and weight. So one of the goals was to find a solution that was able to keep the muscle, to make the muscle healthily able to burn fat and tonic. There is a very important difference between fat and muscle. What is important when we are looking to get a result in reducing of fat, keeping the shape, keeping vitality, keeping energy, no restricted diet. This is one of the most important points of this technology. We don't want people don't eat, but what is important to keep the caloric introduction almost the same you have to maintain your body weight. What we are looking for is to make a more efficient fat metabolism. So I found that the real difference between people that eat just a little and don't lose weight and people that also if they eat a lot don't gain weight was not only in a different metabolism, but was which metabolism was more efficient. With our technology, the first goal is to get a better muscle shape and efficiency. So let me tell you few words about the difference. About 1 kilo of fat I can have in my body and 1 kilo of muscle I can have in my body. 1 kilo of muscle is about 75% water, is 25% protein. Every protein gives 4 calories per gram. So 1 kilo of muscle have a high density, a small volume, and is able to give to the body 1,000 calories. 1 kilo of fat is quite bigger volume. This is almost the same proportion. This picture shows the same proportion of 1 kilo of muscle and 1 kilo of fat. A bigger volume, fat store energy, and 1 kilo of fat is able to give about 9,000 calories, 9 times more than 1 kilo of muscle. So when a person starts a low caloric diet, and what people don't know is that it is very easy that the body starts burning muscle, producing energy, burning muscle to reduce the metabolism. It can be very easy to lose 1 kilo a day with a very low caloric diet when we are losing muscle, because muscle are almost only 1,000 calories, almost made only by water. So when I start to think about to invent something that was effective in reducing body fat and getting a better shape, that was able to give beautiful results to people that was looking to change their body composition, and I start to study the metabolism to see how does it work. And, anything we can eat can be protein, carbohydrate, fat. The digestion is able to convert everything in fat. And this conversion is a one-way conversion. So the digestion can transform protein into fat, can transform carbohydrate into fat, but this is a one-way transformation. It can be transformed backward. Fat cannot be transformed in carbohydrate or in proteins. So when someone has a meal, everything he can eat, it is converted by the body in fat. All this fat is stored by the body to give to the body energy when the body is not eating. So when we eat something, the digestion converts fat, protein, carbohydrate into body fat. The name of the cells that store fat is adipocytes. These are specialized cells made for storing fat when we are eating and during digestion, and to release fat when the body needs a source of energy. So which is the big difference between people that are have a very big difficulties in losing weight, respect people that can eat everything as much as they love, they want, and they don't gain weight. It's not only a difference in the metabolism, but it's a difference in the kind of the metabolism that is dominant in that body. We have two kinds of metabolism. The fat metabolism, called also aerobic, because the burning of fat needs air, so aerobic. And the anaerobic metabolism. The anaerobic metabolism is the metabolism of carbohydrate, and it don't need air. The aerobic metabolism is the one that is dominant on people, that have to be dominant on people when are resting or during low intensity activity, physical activity at low intensity. But for very intense physical activity, big strength efforts like fight and run away, is the anaerobic metabolism. So one work with burning fat and one work burning sugar. So which is the difference between people that can eat a lot without gain weight and people that are overweight, also when follow diet, they are very big difficulty in losing weight. So in these people, the dominant metabolism is the aerobic metabolism. So a person with a good aerobic metabolism are able to burn fat, to store fat, but also to burn fat efficiently. So lean people store fat, but they also burn fat efficiently. So when the metabolism, the aerobic metabolism, is not efficient, what's happened? Overweight people store fat, so every time they eat something, the digestion produces fat. But when the body burns calories, which kind of calories burn? Burn carbohydrates. And this can be terrible. Terrible because if every time I eat something, my body produces fat, but every time I burn something, I burn sugar, I will be all day long looking for food, looking for carbohydrate, to use the carbohydrate my body burn, but every time I eat, I produce more fat. And when I burn something, I burn sugar, so this is a very vicious cycle. And this technology started from the point to change the kind of dominant metabolism. So we want to reactivate the aerobic metabolism and make the body start again to burn fat efficiently. And during activity, the anaerobic is the one that lets you make very high intensity, but you can do only for a little time efforts. But just working or low intensity cardiovascular activity is usually named aerobic activity, but it's not sure that your body is burning fat only because you are doing a little intensity activity. During the physical activity, the two metabolisms, the aerobic and the anaerobic, can be completely different from one person to another. For example, we can think about an overweight person that when start to make physical activity, instead of burning fat, if instead of burning fat, burn sugar, burn carbohydrates, it can be terrible for him because the perception of the effort is higher when you are burning sugar, but also the sugar in the bloodstream go down, and the people usually with a low efficient aerobic metabolism, when they do any kind of physical activity, when they finish the physical activity, they are looking for food because they burn sugar, the sugar level in the bloodstream go down, and they start looking for much more sugar. So a non-efficient aerobic metabolism body, when do physical activity, burn mainly carbohydrate and just a little fat. An efficient fat metabolism body, when make physical activity, can burn more fat and little carbohydrate. in our INFRAFIT system, that environment and the action of infrared is made to stimulate, to activate the fat metabolism. The fat metabolism is quite completely different than the carbohydrate metabolism. And one of the characteristics, the main characteristic is that aerobic metabolism needs air. Anaerobic metabolism you can do also without breathing. When I was a swimmer, in my competition, I was used to try to don't breathe during it. My competition was the 50-meter freestyle. And I was able to make all the 50 meters with just one breath, but because I was knowing that my body didn't need air to make an aerobic effort. About the metabolism during the physical activity, there are so many studies, publications that have been done, and people know that some kind of physical activity is able to let the body burn fat, some other kind of physical activity is able to let the body burn carbohydrate. But what is really interesting is that when a person has an efficient aerobic metabolism, fat metabolism, the fat metabolism is the dominant metabolism during all day long. So, for example, if my resting metabolic rate is 2,000 calories a day, it means that my body needs 2,000 calories a day just to survive, just for the thermoregulation, to make my brain work, my heart pulse, my breath work, so just to survive, 2,000 calories a day. So if my fat metabolism is efficient, what's happened when I go to sleep? For example, also during the resting, also during the sleeping, the body is burning fat. A 2,000 calorie resting metabolic rate person with an efficient aerobic metabolism, 70% of the calories come from fat. So if 70% of 2,000 calories is 1,400 calories that come from fat every day. That means that every day, just to survive, the body with an efficient aerobic metabolism burn more than 100 grams of fat. So when the body works like that, it's the perfect situation. So I can eat during the digestion, produce fat, but I'm using the fat while I'm sleeping, while I'm doing physical activity, while I'm doing everything. So the solution is something that reactivates the fat metabolism and make the fat metabolism efficient. So the solution, increase fat aerobic metabolism. Let the body burn fat efficiently. I remember when I introduced some years ago my technology in an international conference on obesity. I was there ready to explain this technology to, it was about 700-800 doctors, nutritionists, dietitians, and it was impressive to me to see that most 80% of people that work in the diet profession are overweight. So it was impressive to me to see, for example, last time I've been in a hospital, there was the only 2 doctors overweight was the dietitians. So the problem is with the diet, I was trying to explain this in this way. If you get a slightly overweight person, and you start, and this person starts to make very low calories diets, in few years it will be a perfect obese people. This is very simple. It's an adaptation. I don't know if I have enough English word to explain it, but every time a person starts a low-calorie diet, reduce the muscle, reduce the metabolism. So the first step was trying to understand how the diet works and try to understand how the physical activity can have effect on the body fat. And it helped me so much have been a swimmer, because I remember 1 year I went to Padova. In Padova there was an Italian Swimming Federation center for training, and they've been there for 1 year. Close to Padova there is a place named Abano Terme. In this place there was the swimming pool with very hot water, and I remember that was so strange to me when I've been training with my team. Sometime we went to make training in this hot water, and I saw that my body reaction was completely different when I was training in cold water, in normal cold water, 24-25 degrees, instead of training in hot water, 35, 36, I don't remember. But what was strange to me that my body response was completely different. When I was training in cold water, for example, when I was doing a 10 session of 50-meter freestyle at maximum speed with few minutes between one session and the other, when I was doing the same training in cold water and in hot water, my body was different. The performance of my body. In cold water, I was able to be very fast at the first sessions, and every session my performance was going down. In hot water, I was not able to go so fast, as fast as in the cold water, but I was able to keep the performance for much more time. So what's going on in my body when I was training in the cold water instead of in hot water? The metabolism my body was using was changing. So in cold water, the metabolism dominant was the anaerobic, the carbohydrate, and I was able to have better performances. In hot water, the metabolism dominant was the aerobic, the fat metabolism. My performance was not so good, but I was able to keep the same performance for much more sessions. So this was so important to me, that training I had in cold and hot water, because years later I found that this is the first principle on which this technology is based. That the temperature of the environment and the temperature of the body fat can influence the kind of metabolism that is dominant. So in a hot environment, the body tends to use fat. In cold environment, the body tends to use carbohydrate, like as a source of energy. The second principle, as the fat metabolism is activated, the body fat to be metabolized first. So when my body starts to burn fat, from which areas of the body my metabolism take the fat to produce energy. As my body starts to burn fat, the fat first burned will be the one that at that moment in the body is hotter. So the temperature of the fat is important in the stimulation of the fat metabolism. I made the patent of the process of the equipment of this technology. I had the opportunity to meet experts, very scientists like Krotensky, one of the maximum experts of application of physical activity to obesity that I met at an obesity conference. And when he was explaining my technology, my patent, we had a very, very beautiful discussion, and he sent to me a letter about his theory about how the temperature, the infrared ray, can have a role in the stimulation of the fat metabolism of the cell. This was an honor for me that I'm coming from a different field, so I'm an engineer, I'm a computing science bachelor degree, so I've been driving from my passion, from my interest in being healthy and have a powerful body for the competition I was doing in swimming, and I still make, until a few years ago, competition in swimming master. So the third principle is the body fat is an amassing thermal insulator, but it can be gently warmed in deep using infrared rays of adequate wavelength and power. So when I get this point, the temperature of the fat can be important in driving one metabolism instead of another. The point was how I can make the body fat hotter. So I was looking for something really natural, and I didn't care about finding a solution that can create problems, because we can make the fat hotter using microwave or ultrasound, but I was looking for something really natural. And just thinking how the sun is able to make our planets warmer, how does it work? The sun produces light, the sun produces infrared light, the infrared go through the space is at the most absolute zero, the temperature is at most absolute zero, so it's freezing, but it's energy, it's light. When these wavelengths get something, they give their energy, the light gives his energy, and what reach the light increase his temperature. So the infrared has light, can go deep in the tissue and make the fat hotter, going down for some centimeters. This is really important to get the adaptation, the reaction of adaptation that make the body start in burning fat. So in the brain we have the hypothalamus that is the center of the regulation of the thermoregulation. So when I make the fat hotter, it's like to tell to the hypothalamus that in this area of the body there is much more fat that is what the one that is really there. So the body starting burning fat has adaptation reaction. The fourth point is that overweight people have usually a lower and less efficient fat metabolism than lean people. The fat metabolism efficiency can be increased performing a 3 times a week 40-minute session without interruption within the 40 minutes, low intensity cardiovascular activity in a warm environment, and the synergic action of infrared rays of adequate wavelengths and power. So I will try to explain you how this principle is applied in nature and on the body. So everybody have a resting metabolic rate. So the resting metabolic rate is the calories the body needs to burn just to survive. One of the reasons of the burning of calories is to keep the body temperature. So it's like if in any body there is a little fire that burns to keep the body temperature. So what's happened when the body has a lot of fat all around? The fat is a thermal insulator. So with a lot of fat, subcutaneous fat, the calories burned to keep the body temperature are lower instead of having a very lean body. So very lean people burn more calories just to keep the body temperature, the correct body temperature, than overweight people. I can make you an example thinking about the natural on what's happened on penguin. For example, a penguin in a cold environment, a penguin like that can survive in a very cold environment with a little quantity of fish, because his body is almost is covered by a big quantity of fat. And fat is a thermal insulator. So the calories the penguin needs to burn to keep his correct temperature is lower if he has a lot of fat. If I take this penguin, I put this penguin on an infrared technology, and I make this penguin lose his fat, reduce his fat, and then I send back this penguin in his environment like this, what's happened? He needs much more fish to survive. So he needs much more, to introduce much more calories, because his body needs to burn much more calories to keep the surviving body temperature if he has a small quantity of fat. So the difference is that to survive, this penguin to survive needs a little food. This penguin to survive needs a lot of food. So we can think that this penguin is the same like this, with the same fat-free mass, but this penguin has much more fat than the other one. So one of the effects of this principle is that people that gain weight and store a lot of fat, as much fat they have, less is the resting metabolic rate they have. So it is very, very important to keep the resting metabolic rate high. The second principle tells about the body temperature and the fat temperature. So how we can make the fat hotter in a gently natural way. So the infrared light this was my eureka. When I get this, I already was thinking about making the body hotter and the fat hotter, but an amassing thermal insulator, so it's not so easy to make it hotter. Before to arrive, I made many experiments, many research to find a way to make the fat hotter in a natural way, and I was not able to find a solution until I started to think about infrared rays. So specific infrared wavelengths can hit the tissue in deep, inducing vessel dilatation, improvement in micro-macro circulation and oxygenation, better cellular exchange, stimulation of regenerative process, and stimulation of fat metabolism. So the infrared have many positive effects on the body, and the sunlight is rich, very rich of infrared rays. So what's happened on our INFRAFIT cellular biofit device? Very low intensity physical activity make the big muscle, the gluteus, mainly the gluteus, study this biomechanics to make the effort as less as possible, and to make it easy. So when a person go on a normal bike, his legs, he use many muscle of his legs, so some small muscle that don't burn so much calories. So the biomechanics of our device is studied to let the people who cycling using the bigger muscle they have in the legs. So the bigger muscle are the one in the gluteus. So as someone start to cycle, the big muscle in the gluteus start to ask for source of energy, and the infrared ray, for example, go in this area and make the fat hotter in deep. The fat go in the bloodstream and reach the muscle that is burning that fat to make the physical activity. I designed the first prototype of a device where this technology can be applied in the perfect way in 1994. It was the first prototype. Then we have a different version with different improvement, and this one is the last version with the best evolution of the technology. In the last application of our technology, we are not just only using the infrared ray in synergic action with a low intensity physical activity, but we introduced two more technology. One is the biosynchronization of the infrared. So the infrared are pulsing, synchronized the pulse, the heart. And this can let have a big improvement in the efficacy of the treatment. And I made a patent about this because with the blinking infrared we can have a better distribution in deep in the tissue. In the fat tissue we can increase the temperature deeply, gently, with no side effect or risk of burning on the surface. And then we have also another new technology. These have been the first result published by a magazine, an Italian magazine, in 1994. And with our first prototype, this doctor was a friend of mine, a doctor of the Italian national athletics team. And is an endocrinologist and also sport medicine. First prototype, and I developed this with the help of my father. And I bring this first prototype to this doctor, and he made a very simple clinical test, a very simple research based only on 10 treatments on very different kind of person. There was a really overweight person, and obese women, some obese women, some already lean young women with just a little need in losing fat in some areas of the body. Because one of the points that made me so happy when I developed this technology was that based on everything I was studying about nutrition and training, I found that there was no evidence in the spot reduction, the possibility to reduce the body fat only in some area of the body was considered scientifically impossible. So everybody was knowing that make abdominals was losing fat here, but there is no relation between the physical activity and the spot reduction. With this technology, making the fat hotter open the possibility to get the spot reduction. So this first experimentation we have done was not only made with the goal to see if this technology was working or not on the total weight and on the burning of the total body fat, but was also made to check if this technology was working in spot reduction. So there are also some women with a very little overweight was in this experimentation. So what's happening usually, for example, with diet? Maybe, I think, young women that have just a little fat here and want to lose the fat here to get a better shape, and she starts, for example, a diet, and a diet make her losing muscle. If she don't do also physical activity, the normal effect of dieting is losing muscle. If you do physical activity and diet, maybe he start to lose fat, but it happens so many times that maybe a woman need just to lose a few hundred of grams of fat here and start to reduce fat from the face, from here, from everywhere, and the fat she don't want is still there. So with this first experimentation we have done, there was also some women with a very little overweight but localized, and we get a very small reduction of body fat, but the shape was really improved because the fat lost was the fat on the part of the body she didn't like. So it was very strange the result we get with this first experimentation, because on 10 persons that made 10 treatments, we had one that had lost 5 kilos of fat. During this experimentation, we always was using body composition analysis system, anthropometric body composition analysis system, to check what's going on, what's happened on the muscle and on the fat. So we have seen in some cases the muscle was growing and the fat was reducing. So the weight could be almost the same, but the shape obviously was completely different. But we have a person that lost 5 kilos of fat and one that lost only 350 grams of fat. So same 10 treatment, completely different result based on the starting situation. So say if a person have already an efficient fat metabolism, this technology work from the first treatment. If a person have a very low fat metabolism, we can need 4, 5, 6 treatments just to make the fat metabolism increase before to start to burn fat. So the result can be very different based on the starting situation, but what is really beautiful as effect of this technology is that we can have a reduction of the fat, a full body reduction of the fat, or we can work only on specific area of the body, like usually for men is this, the critical area, for women usually is this one. And this was one of the most important research. That was just the first one research we've done, and then we have done another with a group of scientists in South America. We have been done an important research that have been published on the International Journal of Obesity, and the title of this research was effect of a treatment program on obese women with MAICT technology on the fixed adipose tissue, the corporal, the composition, various function, vital capacity, and HAMR profile. So these scientists made a research on this technology. Not only take measurement about the fat and the muscle, but make measurement also on the blood profile, and it had been so impressive, beautiful result, not only on the body composition. In conclusion, during this investigation with the technology in ICT, MIACT, we could find out a good effect in all the parameters that we study and show to the scientific investigation some new revolutionary concepts, as they are the increase of the thermogenesis, of the metabolism, of the subcutaneous fat, and effect of the thermal energy by infrared. So, this technology don't only let you improve your body, reduce the percentage of fat, keep the muscle, make the muscle in a good shape, keep the muscle in a good efficiency in burning fat, not only during the treatment but also during the 24-hour while someone is sleeping. The impressive result we can get in some case is not only for the 40-minute session 3 times a week of the treatment, but for the change of the metabolism and the increase of the fat metabolism. When I started to think about this technology, I was not only looking for something that was effective, but I was also looking for something that was able to make people get in a better shape with joy, with happy, having a better relation with his body. All the typical approach on the overweight is punitivo, is something I have to suffer to get a better body. This is a very, very past paradigm to me. I'm sure that we can get impressive, beautiful result when we do something with joy, with enthusiasm. And this technology born to let people improve their body with joy, not suffering. We have fat metabolism enhancement, muscular tonification, that is very important for the shape. So people want to lose weight. Why they want to lose weight, normal people? To be in a better shape. But the shape is not only related to the fat, it's also related to the muscle. The muscle are important for the shape, and are important because the muscle are burning fat machines. Much more muscle you have, much more fat you can burn. So better blood values, lower health risk, better circulation and oxygen transportation. One of the beautiful effect of this low-intensity physical activity with the action of infrared synchronized with the pulsing is to make a better microcirculation, a better transportation of oxygen, but also a better cleaning of the tissue. So one of the real positive effects is on cellulitis. Improvement in the emotional states. There are so many research that demonstrate that a physical activity is really important. One of the positive effects of the physical activity is the improvement of the emotional states. In this combination of low-intensity physical activity and the action of infrared, the infrared have also an action of the regulation of all the metabolic process, not only in the fat metabolism. And one of the beautiful effects is improvement in the emotional state, reduction on appetite and craving. This is because as the body starts burning fat instead of sugar, normally the looking for food is reduced. When the dominant metabolism is the sugar metabolism, it is normal for people with a low efficient fat metabolism to be looking for food all day long. Because they burn sugar, they look for sugar. But as you make your fat metabolism start to work in the right way and the body stops to burn sugar, then also the appetite, the looking for food is reduced. Better sexual vitality and reproductive capacity. This is a beautiful positive effect that is due to the physical activity, but also to the effect of infrared combined with the physical activity. 3 times a week, 40 minutes, constant power, low intensity activity. So it is not important that the intensity is higher. What is important is to start to move, to let the heart pulsing, to increase the circulation, to breathe, sending oxygen, and let the infrared action give the signal, give the energy to let the body start to increase the fat metabolism and burning the fat. So it's important that the 40 minutes are continuous without interruption, and that there is no more than 2 days between one treatment to the other. So the best application is 3 session treatment a week. I hope with my little English to have been able to explain you this technology. Thank you so much. Bye bye.